Oh, this is what I was going to say.
Yeah.
We were talking about, we weren't even talking about this, but my daughter is watching these YouTube videos of this. There's this young gay fellow that does makeup tutorials.
James Charles.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
He's enormous. Like, he's enormous. You know, he probably gets more views than any network show that's ever been created.
How old was this fellow?
He's young. Looks like he's like 20.
Oh, okay.
What do you say, Jamie?
I'm trying to
Why are you
remember if
laughing?
I should bring this up. The last thing that popped in my head during Coachella, he got accused of being in this viral video that happened. It wasn't him, but there's the Ferris wheel at Coachella. You know, have you ever seen that? Do you know what I'm talking about?
No.
It's a big famous thing that people take pictures in front of. During a concert, you could see a silhouette of somebody getting head in there, and it's two guys.
Oh,
And it's
really?
like- It's a very vivid video that went super viral on Twitter that night.
And they were saying it was him?
Yeah.
Oh. How dare they? He's all about makeup, not head. Sons of bitches.
Right,
Keep
you
it
got to
clean.
reapply your lipstick if you
Keep
do that.
it clean. But it's hilarious. My daughter sits in front of the TV cackling, watching it. Just
Really?
cackling.
Oh, is,
Yeah.
is it supposed to be funny?
She thinks it's funny.
Yeah.
She thinks he's
Is
hilarious.
this dude going for laughter?
Well, I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, he's covered in crazy makeup. I think what she was laughing at, though, in all fairness, was he was making fun of subscribers, 16 million people.
Oh, my God.
I think he was making fun of people that put on too much makeup.
Okay.
So he was going crazy with the
Yeah,
makeup.
yeah.
She thought it was really funny. That is fucking bananas. 16 million people, and he's doing makeup tutorials.
He
But
looks
that's
great.
He looks great. That's the thing. It's like there's an
It looks like
audience for
that's a Kardashian right
all
there.
kinds of shit like this that you would have never expected.
Yeah.
And because of the access, because on-demand access, especially like through a computer, is so easy. It's so easy. Just type in the next thing.
Yeah.
John Reed,
It
Penny,
just, boom,
bang.
what's next?
Just pops up. Yeah.
Yeah.
So like these people that no network in their right mind, like NBC would never say, hey, that young guy, let's get that guy to do a makeup show. They'd be like, get the fuck out of the
yeah.
office. You don't know shit about ratings.
Meanwhile, 8 billion subscribers.
That's crazy.
That'd be a fun game to play. Is like, what rabbit hole would YouTube send you down if you typed in this and just let it keep going?
That's a problem.
it's
I brought up that makeup boy. And the makeup boy my daughter's in love with, she watches this makeup boy on YouTube, and now he's been canceled. I understand. He lost 3 million, and she was telling me to have an 11-year-old sit down and tell you about a gay makeup artist. And this is the funny part. She goes, well, there was a couple things. Okay, so there was the thing with he has a friend who, and he tells me this woman's name, who got him into the business. And then she asked him to promote her hair stuff, but he said no, and he went with another hair stuff. So he totally betrayed her. All right, it's like my 11-year-old's telling me this. And then, this was the best part, she goes, there was also some talk that, he's gay, and there was boys that were not gay, and he tried to get them to be in a room with him. It's like listening to an 11-year-old tell me this shit.
Well, by the way, that also could have been that's the tone of the internet anyway as an 11-year-old girl.
It is.
So you actually heard at least it came from an 11-year-old girl instead of like so-and-so's canceled. You
You're
could read
40.
you're a fucking 40-year-old adult. Why are you talking like a little girl?
Yeah.
You're on BuzzFeed, you're on Fox. Like it's getting to the point where the New York Times is going to be doing that. Like
They're close to it now. I mean, I think that
Alabama owns abortion people.
yeah, what it is the media right now, especially journalism, they're fucking starving for hits. It's so hard to make money. It's so hard.
Yeah.
And so they're drowning.
Yeah.
And so they're trying to grab whatever branches they can.
Yeah.
If they got to make a good story with a clickbaity title, fuck it. They'll have that
Fine.
deceptive title. Who gives a shit?
Yeah.
We got a good story. The story's vetted.
Yeah.
And even if it's not totally vetted, if it's a little slippery, but you can make an amendment later. Oh, I'm sorry. We have
Yeah.
a little bit of an apology. We have to make a retraction.
Yeah.
Nobody reads those goddamn retractions.
No.
I mean, you should have to have a retract. If you fuck up so hardcore that you attribute a crime to someone or you do something like that, and you have to make a retraction, it should be on the front page of your paper and nothing else for a month. That's it. This is your newspaper now.
Yeah, walk
I'm
the
sorry.
plank.
We don't
Yeah.
get to tell you the news anymore.
Yeah, by the
because
way.
we fucked this up so
Yeah.
hard that we printed out to millions of people. You don't
Yeah.
get to just put in a little column in the corner.
Yeah.
We'd like to apologize.
We fucked up last month. Also, 9/11 happened. Also, planes run into the
It's
World
around
Trade.
the James Charles, Tati Westbrook situation that we talked about earlier this week, which is actually interesting because as it kind of winds down, if it's even the right way to say that, it's still chugging along and in certain places getting bigger. And if you're unfamiliar with the core of what I'm talking about, I highly recommend you watch our Monday video. You know, it's a story that started on YouTube, it spread into our general industry, but even now, like, it's getting covered by the CNNs, the Fox Newses, the New York Times did a piece on this. I think it really touches on how unprecedented and historic this has all been. And so that's kind of an update on its own, but some of the other big updates are on the business side. James Charles has now officially lost over 3 million subscribers. And on the other side of this, the person who made the expose video on him, Tati Westbrook, went from 5.9 million to she is getting a 10 million subscriber plaque now. She jumped more than 4 million subscribers. And even saying those numbers, it doesn't really hit on how big of a deal that is. Because if you look at where she started, you're like, okay, well, she almost doubled. That's crazy. It's even bigger than that because if you look through like the past 2 months of her videos range between 700,000 to 1.4 million views on average. Every now and then you have an outlier. And so really what she's looking at here with an injection of 4 million subscribers is an around 4x multiplier, which is great for her. And it also makes me wonder, you know, because the start of this whole situation, what kind of sales she's getting for those vitamins. This appears to have been historically beneficial for her on the business side. But then on the other side of this, for James Charles, it appears more bad news. His apparel website, Sisters Apparel, went down yesterday, which actually, looking into it, isn't the most shocking news. Reportedly, Sisters Apparel had been affiliated with Killer Merch, and that's notable because, as TubeFilter explains, Killer Merch is a full-service merchandise company owned by Jeffree Star that designs, manufactures, and ships products globally for the likes of Jeffree Star Cosmetics, as well as Kevin Hart, Lil Dicky, a slew of other brands that used to include Sisters Apparel, but as of yesterday, Sisters Apparel is no longer listed as one of their partners, which of course is not shocking given what we have seen Jeffree Star say about James Charles recently, notably calling him a predator and a danger to society in now deleted tweets. But what I think is important to note here is we have also not gotten a confirmation or public statement about this business news from James Charles, from Jeffree Star, Killer Merch, anyone. Although I will say I'm also interested to see what's going to happen with the money because if you go to Sisters Apparel on Instagram, some of the most liked comments are how can I cancel and get refunds. Also, as far as James Charles' speaking tour, according to TMZ, that is still on, which I will say for him, I think it makes business sense, but also at the same time could be a liability. I think it makes business sense because despite how many people he has lost, he is still going to have the hundreds of thousands, if not, you know, low millions supporting him. You know, his audience before this scandal was just that big. Although when you look to social media, we've seen people saying that they want refunds for that as well. And as far as what I referred to as a liability, what I guess I mean is just he could be exposing himself to an incredibly uncomfortable situation. Since this has become just such a massive, massive thing, well, yes, you have people that want to cancel, they want refunds. If I was him, I'd be worried that there are going to be people buying tickets so they could go to the shows just to openly mock me and film it. And obviously, while that would still be money in his pocket, I imagine just on a human level, that would be emotionally devastating.
James is definitely a douchebag for all the reasons she pointed out, and I'm not defending him as Hila said, and thank you for saying that earlier because it's important for people to know that I hate everybody involved. I want to go further into why he actually deserves what was coming to him. And again, the most serious claims against James that I can tell, besides him being a douche or a bad friend or whatever, is that he seems to go after straight guys, aggressive, bordering on predatory. Apparently, and you'll see this in a lot of his videos, he has a fetish for straight guys, which in itself is weird because that's like the undertext of that is predatory in itself because you're trying to convince somebody that by default is not interested in you.
Yeah, it's got a very weird tone, like you're not gonna be able to resist me,
right?
Kind of thing, which is weird.
Well, it's also kind of rapey, to be honest, because it's like I'm not gay, and that's the challenge.
Especially when you add to the factors the fact that he's famous, and
right.
if he does that to someone who's a fan of his, it's extra inappropriate.
It's abuse of power, right? So here I've compiled a bunch of evidence. Let's go through it. Is James Charles a predator? Let's find out. These are all anecdotes of people, again, so the validity has not been corroborated on most of these, but there's a lot of it. So it does paint a picture of a person, right? When I met James Charles 2 years ago in a hotel room at Playlist, he was not only rude as fuck, but he was visibly trying to get one of his intoxicated straight friends to cuddle with him to the point where his friends had to say, James, fucking stop. Nothing has changed. You know, and you almost can get away with it, him, because it's like, oh, I'm just James Charles, I'm just fucking around. But if there's someone coming on, man or woman, coming onto you that so hard and aggressive and nonstop to the point where you have to physically push them off you and say, stop.
Yeah.
You know, that's too much. You know. Now, apparently, this guy actually has a picture of him in a hotel room with him then, so it is somewhat corroborated by evidence. But this kind of stuff isn't that hard to believe. Here's more. Let's continue.
Do you mean receipts?
Yeah, it had. That's the other thing they say. They say with receipts. T was spelled with receipts. These girls have their own language, man. It's fantastic. I never talked about it out of fear of him coming for me, but after the video Tati posted, I feel like it's finally time for people to know the shit he's been done throughout the years. All right. Thank you, Anthony, for coming out. Very brave.
Well, I think there was more to it, no?
There was? That's it. That's all I have.
Oh.
There's next saga is flirting with married men. Let's see here. Oh, so he's just cold DMing dudes, by the way. This is freaking weird. He just DMs dudes on Twitter who follow him, I guess, who are like attractive straight guys, and he goes, oh, wow, you're so hot. And then the guy responds, obviously trying to make a point. My wife is so hot. And he says, you could have just accepted the compliment. Ha, 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 ha. Have a lovely day. Isn't that like the ultimate, like, that's like the cat calling.
Yeah, I'm just complicating.
Just accept the compliment.
Yeah.
Kind of douchey, right?
Pretty douchey.
Yeah, it's like the equivalent of a guy telling a girl you
Smile.
could just smile.
Yeah. He said, I take it more of a compliment when someone says nice things about my marriage and my wife, but thanks anyway. I guess this guy knew the score. Again, these are just a lot of little evidence. It gets worse. There's more serious accusations. More to follow. Now, this one is very serious. So this guy claims, he says that he was sent unsolicited nudes when he was 17 by James Charles. There's no evidence other than this. Okay, so this is this is what Pro Jared got moited for. Again, there's no hard proof, but he says, I don't have the screenshots. I wish I did. After talking for a little over a week, he sent unsolicited nudes and asked for them in return. I told him no, and he unadded me immediately. After that, it was clear what he wanted from me, and now I have him blocked on everything. That was him having a conversation with one of these T-series. T-series. Dude, hello? That should be my drama name. So again, it's just a lot of this. It's hard to know what's real and what's not, but it paints a picture. This guy says he went to high school with James Charles, and James Charles catfished the entire soccer team in high school pretending to be a girl so he could get dick pics. So glad to know he's still predatory. Apparently he pretended to be a young girl and was, I don't know. You're going to have to read between the lines there. This is all the evidence, though. I'm just trying to show you guys everything we've got.
And then, for the sake of closing this out, we should talk about what appears to be the final updates around the now historic Jeffree Star, Tati Westbrook, James Charles situation. And a lot has happened since we first covered this, and I'll link to that coverage down below because I don't want to rehash everything. But I will say right here at the beginning that it feels like a very weird ending for a situation that started so large and with serious accusations, right? Because it started with Tati Westbrook's kind of setting up the framework of this situation, essentially calling James Charles an unappreciative, backstabbing snake who allegedly sold out his morals to exploit his young audience and try and get them to buy vitamins. And then, of course, the largest accusation accusation that he was trying to use his fame and wealth to once again trick and manipulate a straight man into doing stuff with him. Essentially an accusation that he was manipulating the vulnerable for what he wanted. A sentiment that was given backup and a bullhorn thanks to the likes of Jeffree Star, who tweeted that James Charles was a predator, a danger to society. You also had people like singer Zara Larsson adding to this, saying, oh yeah, James was DMing my boyfriend. There are also all these additional unsubstantiated claims of even worse abuse. And I say all of that to kind of remind us where this story started because it is so interesting now where it is ending. Tati Westbrook posted a new video on Thursday. In that video, she says she never expected this big of a reaction. She thought she was gonna be the one on the receiving end of hate. She then talks about she doesn't want people to be mean or hate James Charles.
I want you guys to know I don't hate James Charles. I don't want you guys hating on him. I can't even go online right now. It's painful to watch someone that you have cared about be dragged. And if I could give all of the new success back and the new subscribers back, I would.
Then on Saturday, James Charles uploads a 40-minute video. And in this video, unlike his apology video to Tati, he goes point by point based on all of the accusations and things that have happened. Regarding the backstabbing via the vitamin situation, in Tati's original video, she says that James Charles didn't give her a heads up about a sponsored post, and it seems like she thought that the Sugar Bear hair deal happened during weekend 1 of Coachella. But in this video, James Charles makes it clear that the deal happened during weekend 2 and that the ad was posted the Monday after. But in the video, James shows a screenshot of where it appears he did send her a heads up along with an apology and an explanation. Adding that after he saw Tati's Instagram story where she was crying about feeling isolated in the YouTube world, he sent more texts, this time not only to Tati, but also her husband James, saying he called him on several phone numbers throughout the course of a week. Also regarding Tati's claim that James Charles said, you know, I can't really promote your stuff because kids watch me, James Charles responded by saying, 1, that conversation never happened, but 2, went on to show several times where he promoted her product. He then went on to address Tati's allegations that he was manipulating straight men.
I have never, and would never, and will never use my fame, money, or power to manipulate or get any sexual actions from a guy.
Regarding the quote-unquote straight waiter that Tati said that James Charles was being creepy about, he talks about that waiter showing screenshots where Sam told him that he was bi, which a note here wasn't James Charles outing this young kid. In Sam's own video, he even says that at this time he was bi-curious, adding that it was the waiter who slid into James's DMs, which we already knew prior, adding he told Sam that there was no pressure, that everything was consensual, but adding that it started getting rocky because he thought Sam was still figuring out his sexuality. Also, regarding the screenshots where James Charles said, "You are not straight," James shows a screenshot where Sam used a friend's phone to tell James that he was actually gay, but allegedly he only did that so James Charles would respond so he could record the FaceTime, which we talked about on the show. So essentially it appears that James Charles is saying, I wrote that because at this point it seemed like Sam was just jerking him around. Regarding James Charles contacting straight men, right, sliding into their DM, he said he did, but whenever he learned they were not interested, he would just stop. He also brought up Zara Larsson's tweet where she said that he had DM'd her boyfriend multiple times knowing that he was straight. Based on screenshots, it appears that was not true as he only DM'd him once and had no clue he had a girlfriend. Also bringing up that Zara actually met that boyfriend by sending this tweet, and James used this to discuss the stereotypes and the villainization that surrounds gay men.
Why is it okay for Zara Larsson, a woman with a public platform, to tweet these photos of a shirtless man and say, who are you, where do you live, how old are you, why are you so fine, and how do you like your eggs cooked in the morning? But for me as a gay man to DM the same person in private with a simple compliment is predatory.
And Zara Larsson has actually now apologized. He also added that other people were just making up stories about James harassing men. He then went on to address what Jeffree Star had been saying publicly, as well as text messages he had been sending James. It appears that in addition to publicly calling James Charles a predator, a danger to society, he was also directly texting people who knew James Charles things like this, writing, how do you sleep at night knowing that you enable and support a predator and a pedophile? Hopefully you seek help very soon and get away from that monster. When he trapped that boy in his hotel room in Seattle and you didn't care about it, I knew you didn't have a soul either. Following this, we saw Tati Westbrook tweet, my family made me aware of what was just posted and I'm disappointed to see it littered with so many lies and half-truths. I stand by my videos, do not twist my words into what they are not. Hear the message. We also saw Jeffree Star call James's video pure calculation.
You're gonna know what to believe when I really show you the facts, okay? There's screenshots, there's a lot of things that were not presented correctly.
Also having tweeted, I have so much to say and some really sad, disgusting things to show you guys. James Charles tried to mass manipulate you all today. When I show you the proof and why I tweeted that tweet about him, you will all finally understand. And then what we see happen is that on Sunday, Jeffree Star uploads a video. But unexpectedly, there are no voice memos or text messages. Instead, it's actually Jeffree Star doing a lot of apologizing.
There were things being told to me that were never proven. There was a lot of rumors, and sadly, I let that get to me. So James, I want to let you know that I should have never sent you those messages. I should have been a better friend. I know that now. This has to stop. I'm embarrassed by my own actions.
He also apologized to James's brother, Ian.
So Ian, I just want to let you know I am so sorry for ever sending that tweet. If I could take it back, I would.
And he closed it by saying that he doesn't want to talk about the situation anymore and that everyone involved needs to take time to heal. And based off of a number of Twitter statements and Twitter responses, it appears that they're going to try and work things out or take a break. And so right now, it appears that that's where this story ends. We have Tati Westbrook, who has been losing hundreds of thousands of subscribers, but is still immensely more positive than where she started. You have James Charles, who has gained back more than 1 million of the 3 million that he lost, and he's still gaining. The impact for Jeffree Star appears to be somewhat minimal, and it's really interesting seeing it end like this, especially when, once again, you consider how intense the accusations at the beginning were. There were very real and severe accusations being broadcasted by people with access to millions, broadcasted to tens of millions, of sexual abuse, sexual exploitation, behind the scenes. Apparently people were trying to say that James Charles was a pedophile. And then James Charles, once he makes a video after that weird jet-lagged apology video, he essentially just says, actually no, and then essentially it's done. And understand, this is not me wanting more blood. This reaction is based off of the severity and seriousness of the initial accusations that were being thrown out there, and then once they were contested, the reaction is actually, you know what, let's just drop the drama. The vitamin part, the friend part, sure, that's drama, but there were serious accusations made. And the net result of it appears to be that James Charles lost a lot, is gaining back, will probably be whole sometime soon. Tati Westbrook could lose another 800,000 subscribers and she'd still be 3 million positive. And that's also without considering something that FaZe Banks mentioned. How many vitamins did she end up selling? How much money did she make since her first video? The whole situation and how everything started and has transpired, it feels off of center. I personally don't know how to react to it. All I am at this point is skeptical and confused. But ultimately, that's where we are with the story. And